Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. I am Rishabh here, and in this video we are going to learn Excel from basic level to an advanced level. If you are a college student or a working professional, then this video is for you. So Excel is one of very important tool which is widely used in schools, colleges and companies. So this video is divided into three parts and everything is demonstrated using real life data sets. In the first part of the video you will get to know about interface of Excel that everyone needs to know to use Excel efficiently, and in the second part of the video you will get to know how to perform important features like sorting and filtering using real life data sets, and in the third part of the video you will get to know how to make a report using various intermediate to advanced techniques. After watching this video you will get to know how to make Excel sheet from this to this. I have also shared the bonus tip in between the video, so don't skip the video, watch till the end so that you will get to know, and also these bonus tips will be helpful for you in interviews and also for using Excel efficiently. Now coming to the first part of our video in which you will get to know what features Excel has and how to use them. Let's start by looking at how one goes about using Excel realistically. So let's assume you have given a file either by your manager or through email, or you downloaded a file from somewhere and you typically open that. Let's open an Excel file now.
A few moments later.
So now we got an Excel loaded with this file that has an data on hospital charges. We will be going to the details of the file soon, but first let's talk about Excel itself. As you can see, Excel has an interface on top. This menu bar on top is called ribbon and has a multiple tabs like home tab, insert tab, page layout, etc. We are going to be going through all the important parts of them. But to begin with, I will talk about how these tabs work.
अबे जल्दी बोल, कल सुबह पनवेल निकलना।
So as you can see on the screen, like if I want to change the font in this particular cell, I would select the font drop down and that would give the list of all fonts that I can choose from. So as I change the font, you can see the font changing in the selected cell. So as you can see, the color drop down differs from the font drop down, and the intent of this format is to make things easier to understand and work, and the ribbon makes these things accessible easily. But how do you know what a particular feature does? Just hover over it and that will give you the explanation. For example, if I don't know what these few lines do, so to know, just hover over it and you will get information about it. If I select this cell and click on this alignment, it will align it accordingly to my selection. So that's how things work in the cells. You also have these little drop down that allow you to have explore more setting in that section. The ribbon is grouped into different sections like font section, alignment section, number section, etc. These have the little arrow here that gives you even more options than can be shown on the ribbon. So that since a ribbon is able to compress a lot of most commonly used options directly on screen and still give you access to the less commonly used actions through a different interface. Now coming to insert menu. Insert menu lets you to insert various things like pivot tables, graph and so on. Now coming to a page layout. As you can see on the screen, page layout lets you to format the page. Now coming to a formula tab. Formula tab lets you to insert formulas, edit formulas and so on. And now coming to a data tab. Data tab lets you to explore data in different ways and so on. I have covered all the basics things related to Excel interface that you are required to know, and the remaining thing I will cover while performing the data analysis.
मुझे अपने घर जाना है मुझे घर जाना है।
Let's go about into our data set, and what we look here that how we go about using Excel to analyze our data. So let me tell you about this data set. So this is a hospital charge data set. In US, there are many healthcare providers who offer various kinds of treatment at a certain cost. So in which some of the cost is borne by the patient and some of the cost is by medical providers, or you can say by the government. As you can see on the screen, this data is in unformatted way. So as you can see, when I click on this cell, I won't able to recognize what is written here. But when I see on formula tab, I can understand what is written on this cell, which is DRG definition. Now talking about this cell, when I click on this cell, I won't able to see what is written here. But when I see here, I get to know this cell is recognized as provider ID. So now if I get a huge data set, I am not going to look into the formula tab every time, because it will be very hectic to look at each and every data in the formula bar.
सही पकड़े हैं.
So I will just drag my mouse here and click on C. You can see that down arrow, which means that everything in this column is selected now. So now I will drag my mouse to the edge line of this C column. When you will be able to see this type of icon, which represent that you are now ready to split the column according to the data size. I will just double click on this and you can see how each data in this column is perfectly visible. But there will be question in your mind that suppose you want to make a size of this column according to your choice. So how you can do that? Let me explain you. You just need to drag your mouse at the edge of any column you want to resize, and when this type of icon is visible, just drag accordingly. So was it simple? Tell me in comment box. So now as you can see on the screen, still there are many columns that are not visible properly. So let me tell you the way through which you can resize the whole column such that each and every data is visible. So for that, we will click here and you can see each data in this sheet is selected now. We will drag our mouse here and double click. So this is how you can resize it. But suppose I want to resize only two of the column. How can we do that? For that, let me undo it first. Okay, let's assume we want to resize only column C and D. So for that, we will click here and drag it to D. As you can see that both of the columns are being selected. Now drag your mouse here and double click it. So this is how we can select any number of columns in the Excel file. If you already know this, then I want to tell you that keep patience. Many more interesting things are going to come out. And up till now, if you haven't liked the video, then like the video to make YouTube algorithm happy. So now let me rearrange the all columns quickly so that everything we need to analyze is visible clearly. Now we are all set for the next step of learning. So now as you can see on the screen that row 11 is our header file. Let's make its text bolder and also provide some color so that anyone can recognize it easily as a header file. To select a particular row, either we drag here and select with our mouse like this, or we can drag our mouse here and when you see the arrow pointing, we will just click it and you can see everything on column 11 is selected now. Now we can customize it according to our choice or any particular defined customization. Let's talk about what this dataset contains. The first column is DRG definition, roughly which says that this kind of treatment that you might be taking as explained before, and it has a provider ID, provider name with the provider address, city, state and zip code of the provider ID's address. Hospital referral region description is the way of grouping all of these hospital or providers into a certain region. So this says that in Alabama, in the region Dothan area has this particular provider. Total discharges represent the number of people treated by this particular provider for the period of which this data covers, and these are the average charges paid by the patient and the government, as some of the payments are made by government, and then we have the average Medicare payment, which is payment made by medical insurance providers. Now coming to the second part of our video, in which you will get to know how to answer different types of question using short and filter, and also how to apply various intermediate to advanced technique using Excel. So let's learn to short and filter in Excel, which is very important skill of Excel as well as used in data analysis. So there will be question in your mind that how the short and filter is useful in Excel, and the very important question asked in interview that what is the use of short and filter in Excel. So you can answer with an example. Suppose you may want to know the cheapest hospital for chest pain treatment, or you may want to know the most expensive healthcare treatment in the particular region. Then to know that, these features of Excel are very useful. Now let me explain sort and filter with the help of real life dataset. If you have enjoyed the video till now, then please press the like button to appreciate my hard work. Suppose we are given a problem that select the providers treating chest pain in California. For that we first have to find the chest pain in DRG definition, because this column gives you the types of treatment that patients are provided with. So to find the chest pain in DRG definition column, we will use this tab here known as find and select. So first select the DRG definition column like this, then click on it and now click here and now find. Now we will search for chest, so type chest and find next. So as you can see that this particular hospital provides chest pain treatment and the total patient have been treated are 43, and here these are their treatment cost. So to find all the chest pain hospitals, we will use the filter method. So to use that, we will click here on the sort and filter tab. Now click on filter. Now you can see the little drop downs where we will filter our required input. So we have to filter chest pain in DRG definition column. For that, click here. Now we will unselect all and select only chest pain data. But to find it will be very difficult as there are so much of data available. To ease it, we can use this search bar. For that, now let's find chest, and as you can see it's visible now. Take it and press OK. Now you can see all hospital treating chest pain is visible now. So our next step is to find the state California, as we are asked to find the providers treating chest pain in California.
साला ये दुख का खत्म नहीं होता बे.
For that, click here and search for CA as it is denoted for California, and now click OK. Here there will be an interview question that can be asked when we search in filter and search is case sensitive or not. You can give your answer in comment box. So if you don't know, let me answer with the demonstration that it is not a case sensitive. Either we search in this way, that is small ca, or we search in this way in capital CA. It is going to search it perfectly. And here in this text filter there are different selections like equals, does not equals, begins with, ends with, and so on. Let's assume we have to find the DRG column which contains cardiac. So we will use filter here and then click here and click on the contains, then type cardiac, and now you can see all treatments related to cardiac are visible now. So this is how we can use filter. And there is one more thing that you should know. Suppose you want to filter chest pain as well as a permanent cardiac pacemaker. So to filter that, let's first clear all filters. Now let's filter. Unselect all, then search chest pain first and tick it now. And now search for permanent cardiac pacemaker and click on both of them and click on this, add the correct selection to the filter, which will help us to select both chest pain as well as a permanent cardiac pacemaker. So this is how the filter works. As you can see on the screen, the both permanent cardiac pacemaker and chest pain both are visible now. You have to practice different types of question to build command on it. I'll clear everything and filter only for chest pain in California state. Now let's rank providers by cost to find the cheapest hospital for the chest pain treatment, as question was asked. You can see here at the left bottom here are 201 providers from which we have to find the cheapest of them. You can use other ways to know the number of rows by selecting providers column. You can see as on screen there are 202 rows. But one thing you have to keep in mind that 202 rows includes the header column also. So actually providers have only 101 rows. Now coming on this column named average cover charges. Suppose we have to sort it from lowest to highest. So for that we will select this column first. Then click here. And now as you can see A to Z, it is defined as smallest to highest. Click on it. And now when you see here, you can see it is not sorted properly as the highest number is not at top in this column.
ओ भाई ये क्या है?
Pause the video and comment below that what is the probable reason behind it. No problem if you haven't got the problem. The reason behind is due to this dollar sign, due to which it is treated as alphabet, not as a number, and due to this it does not sort it properly. So let's fix it. To remove the dollar sign, firstly we will copy this dollar sign from here. Now we will select all the columns from which we have to remove this dollar sign. So we will select all these columns and then we will go to a find tab and we will paste it. The find tab will find the dollar sign wherever it is present in the column, and then after that we will replace it with the space. So like that, all the dollar signs which are present in these columns will be removed. So now let's sort it according to largest to smallest from here. As you can see that this provider is very expensive in this particular place. Now let's sort it from smallest to largest, and now here you can see that this particular provider has provided the treatment at a very low cost. So this is how we sort and filter in the Excel. Now coming to the bonus tip for sorting. So now we know who are the most expensive and less expensive providers in the state, but as you can see the state is pretty large. So what I want to know is that in each cities who are the cheapest and most expensive healthcare providers. So for that let's sort the city first alphabetically. Now you can see on the screen that these are the most expensive and less expensive hospitals in Bakersfield. But there is one more way of sorting. When we want to sort multiple columns, then we will use custom sorting for that. So for that we will click here and now we will go to custom sort, and now firstly we will select provider city and then we will select its order from A to Z. Now in second column we will select average covered charges and sort it from A to Z. Now you can see on the screen this is how the sorting works. Now let's learn how to make a report out of it, which will be very helpful for sharing it with your manager or for any other purposes. Let's say your manager is interested in knowing which city he should look for chest pain and he want a report on that. So as now you can see the data is not organized well and it is not easily readable to find a useful insight out of it. So we will make a new sheet by clicking on this plus icon, which will add a new sheet, and let's name it CA chest pain, and we can also add color to it like this. And there are other features in this, like we can insert, delete, rename and so on. So let's copy and paste all data. From here to copy data, either we select using dragging our mouse like this, or we can click on top left corner here and all the data present here is selected now, and we will now paste it to our new sheet. Coming to this data, as we can see there are some unnecessary columns like state name, as this data is all about California state only, so this column is not required. So we will delete it by selecting this column and clicking here on delete. And now let's rearrange the size of all column as I demonstrated earlier to how to resize it. But there is one more thing I want to tell you. For example, when you select this particular column, as you can see on the screen, there is an option column width, with the help of which you can resize the column according to your requirements. Now coming to the deleting of unnecessary columns, we are going to delete this provider ID, provider pin code, and also we will hide the provider's street address. So you may be thinking why I have not deleted it. It is so because it may be useful for us later, so we will just hide it. The hide feature is for hiding those content which we are not needed for now and can be accessible anytime later. So let's hide total discharge for now. As you can see, we have a sheet which is more readable. So now as you can see, these payment columns are not formatted properly. So let's select these payment columns and click here. As you can see here that this is used to define the number of digits you want to have after the decimal place. But as you can see, the numbers are not changing. So can you tell me in comment box why it is happening? So let me answer this. It is due to our header file, which is not a number. So let's select only the number of this column. So here I want to tell you a shortcut key. If we use control left arrow, it will move towards the beginning of our sheet, and if we use control right, it will move towards the end of the sheet, and if we use shift right or left arrow, it will move accordingly, as you can see on the screen. Now to select these column, we will click here, and now we will use control shift and down arrow, which will select everything of this column, and now we will format it, and we can also make it as a currency from this tab here, as you can see on the screen. Now this column will be treated as currency number. So now let me quickly format these two remaining columns also. Here I want to show you one more issue that you might face. When you scroll down, as you can see on the screen, that I couldn't able to recognize which column is dedicated for what purpose. So to solve this issue, we will go to the view tab, and here you can see the freeze pane option, which help us to freeze particular row or a column. So this is how we will freeze our first row by clicking here and now on freezing first rows, and now you can see we can now easily understand. Now coming to the third part of our video, which is very important section of our video, in which you will get to know how to make a very beautiful report using various intermediate to advanced technique using conditional formatting. So watch the video till the end. Now coming to the very important section of an Excel, which is conditional formatting, which will make our report more readable, but I will explain in advanced conditional formatting, pivot tables, graphs, etc. in next video, as this video is already very long. So don't skip the video and watch till the end. Suppose we want to make a report which is easier to understand just by looking. So how can we do that? For that we highlight the hospital such that it shows which are less and more expensive with some sort of colors. So for that, here we will use conditional formatting. So let me ask you one very famous interview question which is generally been asked when you are giving a interview. What is conditional formatting? If you already know the answer of this question, then do let me know in comment box. So if you don't know the answer, don't worry, I am here. So conditional formatting in Excel applies formatting rules to cells based on specified condition. It visually highlights data that meets certain criteria, aiding analysis and data visualization. Okay, if you still weren't able to understand, then also don't worry, because I am going to explain this with the help of real life data set. Suppose your manager has directed you that make a report that highlights a hospital whose average covered charges are least and most expensive, and also highlight the average total payment such that it shows least and most expensive, and also same for the average Medicare payment. So this is a very small task we have been given by a manager, and we are going to solve it using conditional formatting. So for the conditional formatting of average cover charges, we will select this column and go to conditional formatting, which is present here. You can see there are different options in it, like highlight cell, which help us to highlight cells according to particular rules, like if you want to mark any cell with greater than, less than, so on types of parameter, then we can use this. And there are some other options like top and bottom rules, in which we can highlight cells like top 10 items, top 10 percentage, and so on. And next option is data bar, which help us to highlight cells not only with color but also with a bar like this, as I am showing you an example on screen. And then next option is color scale, which we are going to use to highlight our cells for most and less expensive hospitals. We will select the first column J and go to color scale. As you can see here, there are many options of color patterns, but we are going to select this color pattern. As you can see how beautiful and more expressive this report has become now. So let me quickly highlight the column K and L now. So now let me tell you other option in conditional formatting, which is icon sets, where you can add some different types of icon as per your requirements. And the last option is manage rules, which help you to delete and edit and format the condition which you have set. It is very helpful for you to select manually a set color condition according to your requirements. So this was all about Excel. I hope you enjoyed it. So don't forget to like and subscribe our channel so that you will never miss our new video notification.